I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Hello, folks. Welcome back to the program, and Happy New Year to folks all over the world. It's now New Year's everywhere. The day has changed over the entire planet. It's all New Year's for everyone. Let's just do a quick sound check. All New Year's for everyone. Sounds pretty good. Welcome back, and it's a pleasure to have you with me once again for this New Year's broadcast. Hardest working man in show business. Working every single day of the year. Well, good to see you again. So we've got, as usual, a number of things to talk about today. But let me say hello to a few people in the chat, and there's a super chat I need to cover very quickly. Leovin Janssen from Rendsburg, there's an OG. Boy, she's been around forever. Happy 2026, Colonel White Army, amazing mods, and thank you, Colonel, for Giselle. Have missed hearing her voice in your streams. Hope she knew how to. Yes, they went to Namibia for the holidays, and so they're doing well. Yeah, it's been a while since we played. I figured I'd reintroduce Giselle to a new audience because we have a lot of new viewers that weren't here in the past. If we roll back to New Year's last year, we didn't have 415 people showing up in a live stream the first 10 minutes of it. But today we actually have 896 people showing up. We're lucky to have 75 to 100 last year. A lot of people aren't familiar with Giselle, so I try to introduce them. Thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate that. Madeline Ruiz, David van Reenen, Ron, Ref, Rugby. By the way, big game on Saturday I'll be covering. That game, of course, is the Bulls and Stormers from DHL Greenpoint Stadium. Okay, so just looking to see, checking the Stoltz family. Also going to have a surprise for you guys this weekend. The Stoltz family is going to be up here this weekend. Yeah, that's right. They'll be up here this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, and looking forward to showing them around in central Pennsylvania. Bossy Coppola to you. Very interesting email today about war for Christendom. Okay. Well, Vilma, it was delivered by the sword. Islam was delivered by the sword. You convert or die, or you become a slave. Take your choice. That's how it was delivered. Not appealing to people's hearts and minds. Hey, Vilma, what's going on? Hope you're feeling better today. What else we got here? I got some super chats coming. Keith Alderson's in from Coventry. Already passed 0.15 in the new year. Yeah, exactly. Happy New Year to Vera Sequeira. I haven't seen Vera in about 2 weeks. Welcome back. I guess you're done taking the holidays off. Chris Wanapol's here. I haven't seen Chris either. So usually people are moaning about him sanctioning bad behavior in WhatsApp groups. He's right to do it. And we've got Dante von Vijk is here. Hey, Dante. Adam Barnard, thank you for the greetings. Rena Watt. And Leo Vignance von Rendsburg gave the super chat. Then we've got Fonz is back in. Fonz must have been on holiday there for a little bit. I thought I saw some people. Oh, they're there. Test Thrawn gave a 70 Rand super chat. And Casper Crow gave a 35 Rand super sticker. Thank you guys for that very much. Happy New Year to all of you. To the 500 people now tuning into the program, thank you for being here. It's a real pleasure to deliver the news for you once again. The unvarnished daily injection indoctrination. No, that's not the right word. Immunization is the right word. Your daily immunization against misinformation, disinformation, government propaganda, media lies, and subterfuge. Verraaiers, leugners, and liars. Welcome to Call Me Novak once again. A long-time viewer of this program. 31 months as a member. Let's go Bulls. Well, good luck with that, my friend. Good luck with that. You know, it might wind up being a very interesting derby, actually. We'll see how it goes. I don't know if we're going to have Sasha Feinberg Ngumzulu or whether we're going to have Damon Willemse. Both will look questionable for the game. And Troll Power Hour. NATO Captain, welcome to you. All right, here we go. So New Year's was welcomed in around the world in major metropolitan areas and including tiny metropolitan areas or rural peri-urban areas like where I live at with big fireworks demonstrations. Hang on. Oh, Social Security. Yeah, taxes are no longer applied to Social Security benefits as of today when taxes on tips go away. Donald Trump strikes again for the little man, the common man. Cities around the world welcome 2026 with heightened security and thunderous fireworks. Here's Maren Morris, who? Never heard of her. Performing at Times Square. Never heard of her. From Sydney to Paris to New York City, crowds rang in the new year with exuberant celebrations filled with thunderous fireworks or light shows. Others took a more subdued approach. And we had a good time here on this program. Over 7,000 to 8,000 people showed up for our New Year's celebration for South Africa. Yep, so there you go. And then we had a few show up for the other one. Happy New Year. That's 2026 being rung in there in Times Square. Germany's wild celebration in Berlin is fueling concern about fireworks as it gets out of control. There you see the Brandenburger Gate and Herr Janssen von Rensburg, 54 months. Thank you so much for being here. It's good to see you again. In Berlin, a country known for abiding by rules, haha, yeah, right. Quiet Sundays, meticulous recycling, orderly lines, and aversion to jaywalking. Even in the wee hours of the morning, there's one night each year when restraint collapses into sanctioned mayhem. New Year's Eve, known as Silvesterabend. They flood the streets. And here's police officers putting out a fire on the Berlin street during the celebrations. Thank you, Lou, for the 14 Rand. This is the first of many super chats for the year. Well, that's awesome. Thank you, Lou. Looking forward to that. So thank you very much. Oh, Erica. I missed Erica. Thank you. Thank you, Erica. Happy New Year to you, Chris. Thank you so much. Private fireworks are banned year-round in Germany, but for Christmas, or not Christmas, New Year's Eve, they're allowed. Here you see fireworks debris left on the streets of Berlin's Weissensee district. Look at that, pigs left all this mess behind. Unbelievable. Well, the Germans, a little out of control. Hunt is giving 140 Rand. Super chat getting us started. Thank you. The clouds gathering. It's a new year. You're all getting us started with these super chats. Appreciate it. Well, South African political leaders are calling for unity in 2026. Hang on a second. I see if I got a message here. No, just minor stuff. John Steenhuisen, the agriculture minister. Political leaders in South Africa extended their wishes to the nation for a prosperous and hopeful new year, reflecting the challenges and achievements of 2025 while outlining their priorities for 2026. In his message, DA leader John Steenhuisen highlighted the impact of the 2024 elections, which led to the formation of the government of national unity. As we look back, we're reminded of what your vote made possible: collapse, arrogance, hubris, disrespect, dissing America, turning towards communist and rogue regimes and terror states. That's what DA brought us. Yep, within the gene of the DA is committed to fighting for urgent reforms. What reforms? Cyril Ramaphosa still hasn't been charged with criminal acts for the currency violations, the money laundering of $580,000 at Pala Pala Game Ridge. What reform? When will Zandile Gumeda face trial and actually be prosecuted? What about the Vrede dairy farm scandal? Now we have South African ANC criminals or criminal accused who die before ever being charged with a crime or facing justice. There's no reform, John Steenhuisen. What planet are you on? South Africa's cattle industry is in chaos now because you ignored foot and mouth disease. When I gave you an opportunity to speak publicly about it in April and May, you simply blew me off, as you always do. And you didn't discuss with anybody until it was too late. Sonia Geyer gave 140 Rand super chat. Thank you for that, Sonia. Appreciate it. Yes. Yeah, John Steenhuisen. Look at this. Brett Herron, representing leadership of the Unite for Change, a merger of Rise Mzansi, Build One, and the Good Party, acknowledged hardships faced by many South Africans. Yes, but he lives just fine.
On behalf of the leadership of Unite for Change, I hope that you had a wonderful close to the year 2025, and I wish you a happy new year. We can't close 2025 without acknowledging that for many South Africans, it was a difficult year with high costs of living and the burden of high costs of municipal services, coupled with poor quality municipal services.
Well, thank you for the obvious, Brett. I'm sorry, that's enough. I can't listen anymore. Speaking of not listening anymore, here's the next one. President Ramaphosa gave a message of hope and unity and a stronger South Africa, after which he was immediately taken to a clinic for a drug test to see if he'd been ingesting illicit narcotics. The man who discriminates on a racial basis against minority South Africans and denies it. The man who refuses to address gender-based violence until he's been in office for 8 years, and even now, not really addressing it. The prophet's son. Well, welcome to you. 8 months member. Acknowledging the challenges faced by many South Africans, he emphasized the progress made and the collective effort required to build a better future. Really? I'm sorry. I'm not convinced of President Ramaphosa's message. It's just not resonating.
My fellow South Africans.
My fellow South Africans. Let's hear what the president has to say. Let's hear what the president of South Africa has to say to the nation. for New Year's this year.
My fellow South Africans, a new year is upon us. As we welcome the new year, we do so with reflection, resolve, and hope. The year behind us was not easy. Many South Africans faced the strain of a myriad of challenges over the past year. It continues to be a matter of concern that many South Africans are unemployed, and that poverty and inequality persist.
3 times as much as when you inherited.
The high cost of living has imposed huge burdens
taxes
on South African households. Many communities live in fear of gangsters. Women and children live in fear of gender-based violence.
I agree, President Ramaphosa. Many South Africans live in fear of gangsters. They're terrified of their politicians. They're terrified of their politicians, the gangsters.
Violence and femicide. The delivery of basic services in our cities, in our towns and villages are often disrupted or do not exist at all.
Apparently that's Jan van Riebeck's fault. I think that's enough of that. We don't need to hear any more of that nonsense. We all know that services aren't being delivered, and we know who they're not being delivered by: the Government of National Unity, the Democratic Alliance, and the ANC in league to impoverish and imprison South Africans. Shame on you. Shame on you. You and your rich caters. You're living quite well. You're living quite well. So with that message of hope and unity, let's take a look at some of the breaking headlines in South Africa today. A country of hope and unity, Ubuntu, as Ramaphosa claims. Let's take a brief look at some of the events unfolding today, the ones that they actually bother to report. Oh, look, 2 people arrested after a viral video shows a brutal assault of a security guard. South African Police Service confirmed the arrest of 2 suspects in connection with the assault of a private security guard at the Ubuntu Marina Glen in East London. SAPS confirms the arrest of 2 suspects in connection with a viral video depicting the assault of a security guard. The violent incident, which drew significant attention on social media platforms, reportedly occurred after the guard confronted individuals who were allegedly parked improperly at the beachfront location. Look at they're blocking traffic. Eyewitness post about the video suggests the assault began when the guard asked the group to move their vehicle off the road near the beach before they attacked him. They're facing charges of common assault. Well, how about attempted murder? Look at this. Look at this. Cowards, multiple cowards gang up on a security guard. 34-year-old security guard Zolisi Ongwele says he was assaulted by 4 men while on duty, suffering physical and emotional trauma. I think they should all be locked up and the key thrown away. This is the message of Ubuntu. 4 family members killed in an attack in Port Shepstone. Police in KZN investigating a case of murder after 4 family members were killed Wednesday night. According to an eyewitness, she was with her fiancé when 4 unknown men kicked open the door of their rondavel and murdered them. The victim said 3 were carrying firearms, 1 was carrying a bush knife. They demanded money, and when they told them that there was no money, they fired shots at her 45-year-old fiancé who was killed. When they got to the main house, they shot dead a woman and her 2 daughters. Then they fled the scene, taking 2 cell phones. So 4 people's lives were terminated for something that was worth $200. More Ubuntu in South Africa on New Year's Day. An 84-year-old elderly man found with his hands and feet bound, murdered in Camps Bay. The unusually tranquil Cape Town suburb of Camps Bay has been left reeling after an 84-year-old man was found murdered inside his home Tuesday. According to reports, the victim's daughter arrived at his place of residence and found him with his hands and feet tied. Circumstances surrounding the incident are under investigation. No arrests have been made. Killing has sent shockwaves through the tight-knit community, with residents expressing disbelief. Well, I can believe it. These cowards attack the vulnerable. There's not much I can say because the motive is difficult to determine at this stage, said Martin Steinhell, chairperson of Camps Bay Community Policing Forum. Camps Bay is generally regarded as a safe area. For something like this to happen has left the community shocked. At this point, there's no indication of an imminent threat to residents, but people are understandably shaken. Well, there are no safe havens in South Africa except for Mr. Rupert's, razor wire security guard protected residence. Everyone else is subject to this violence. But there's your message of Ubuntu on New Year's Day, President Ramaphosa. Here's another message of Ubuntu. The public protector flags municipal maladministration, but clears the presidency over a gathering. The public protector has cleared the presidency of the Department of Defense of allegations of financial mismanagement and improper conduct related to catering expenses on the presidential aircraft. But see, that's nonsense. The DA lodged a complaint by John Cena, who's alleged the catering cost for a 2022 flight from London to South Africa cost $600,000 for fewer than 18 guests. The catering for a canceled flight to Turkey in 2023 cost $1,000. Allegations included the purchase of luxury items for expensive liquor, chocolates, and biltong for VIPs. According to the public protector, evidence showed that catering costs for the flight totaled $139,000, significantly less than alleged. Procurement process adhered to the presidential handbook and the South African Air Force guidelines, and no alcohol or luxury items were included in the catering orders the public protector found. The cancellation of the Turkey flight resulted in a payment of $82,000 for catering service, which was in line with the supplier's cancellation policy. The problem with this, of course, is that we no longer believe anything that the government of South Africa says. It lies every day. Why would we believe it? Now, that lady there is this lady here. She looks very different here. It looks a lot more attractive in this photo. Public protector has concluded that neither the presidency nor the Department of Defense acted improperly regarding the controversial catering expenses related to the presidential aircraft in Gwazi. The problem is none of us believe the South African government anymore. They've lost all credibility. Well, a midnight ruling by the court has forced the city of Cape Town to secure a venue for the minstrel competition. Wow, do a minstrel show in the States, you're a racist. At the stroke of midnight, Western Cape High Court ordered the city of Cape Town to urgently comply with a court ruling compelling it to secure a venue for the Cape Town Minstrel Carnival Association January competition. The after-hours ruling followed an urgent Section 18 application brought by the association late on Wednesday evening. Well, there you go. Don't know where they're going to have it at, but they're going to have it. He's the man for the job, folks. Dobby is the man for the job. John Dobson has had his contract extended by the Stormers in Western Cape. Stormers director of rugby, John Dobson, extended his contract through 2029. Dobson delivered South Africa's first URC championship title in 2022, has overseen an unbeaten start to the season after 9 matches. The 4-year extension will see Dobson continue to build on the so-called Project 2029, which includes ambitions of winning the Champions Cup by that year. Stormers announced on Thursday director of rugby, John Dobson, has signed a contract extension until 2029. Congratulations to Dobby. Somaliland denies it's agreed to host Israeli bases or resettle Palestinians. This fraudulent claim by leftist lunatics simply not happening. Breakaway region dismisses Somalia's allegations as an attempt to undermine diplomatic progress. Ministry of Foreign Affairs Thursday dismissed claims as baseless, saying that its engagement with Israel is purely diplomatic and conducted in full respect of international law. A booze ban in Saudi Arabia, which has been in effect since the 1950s, has been lifted, and no one's paying attention. The Islamic Kingdom is loosening its laws against alcohol as part of a modernization push. Wow. Is Saudi Arabia coming into the 19th century finally? Some non-Muslims have recently been able to buy booze. Well, I can tell you that for years people have had booze in Saudi Arabia. I guarantee that. I've seen it when I was there. Iranian protests sparked by economic collapse are spreading across the country as the government gets increasingly hostile towards Iranians. Demonstrations triggered by a collapse in the currency started with shopkeepers and phone vendors before drawing in students, workers, and others. Look at that. Downtown Tehran on Monday, earlier this week. Iranians have struggled for years with raging inflation, anemic economic growth, and international isolation, largely because of mismanagement, corruption, and sanctions imposed by the United States and other countries over their nuclear program. Yes, well, Iran is just a paradise, isn't it? Taiwanese President Lai Ching-te stresses defense resilience and political consensus in defiant speech. Taiwan's President Li Ching-te on Thursday emphasized defense to build a safer, more resilient Taiwan. In the face of China's rising expansionist ambitions, the international community is paying attention to whether the Taiwanese people possess a resolve for self-defense. Mike in 70 Rand in from Nelspruit. Thank you. Fantastic and blessed, healthy 2026. Same to you. Thank you very much for the super chat. You have a blessed 2026 as well. Hope your business goes well. In Europe, in Amsterdam, a monumental historical church is ravaged by flames on New Year's Day. Local residents were evacuated after fire broke out in the Vondelkerk shortly after midnight. The cause of the blaze has not been confirmed. Probably arson would be my guess. A deconsecrated Amsterdam church built 150 years ago was engulfed in flames in the early hours of New Year's Day, prompting widespread evacuations, causing extensive damage to the cultural monument. There were no initial reports of casualties. Deconsecrated. That means these heathens don't go to church anymore, right? I think that's what that means. Well, tragedy in Switzerland, ladies and gentlemen. Dozens are believed to have died in this horrific fire at a New Year's party in Switzerland. It broke out about 1:30 in the morning at the Crans-Montana ski resort. 100 people have been confirmed injured and dozens suspected dead. Blaze broke out in the early morning hours at Le Constellation, a bar in the Crans-Montana in the canton of Valais, the French-speaking area of the Swiss Alps. Officials said they were still investigating the cause of the fire and the resulting explosion at the site, but they ruled out possibility of a terrorist attack. Gilwin gave $5. Happy New Year to you from sunny Iowa. Well, Iowa. Yes, I know Iowa well. Used to live there. Last place I ever thought I lived was Iowa. I lived there. Ethiopia might have been the last places. Emergency services sent 10 helicopters and 40 ambulances to transport the injured to hospitals. Officials said in a news briefing this morning, adding the emergency ward operating theaters in the nearest major medical center had run out of space to treat the victims. There were so many. 3 specialized jets took burn victims to Zurich, 90 miles away. Teams of doctors and counselors were also dispatched to psychological help for survivors. Guy Parmelin, who began his second term as Switzerland's president on Thursday, or Guy, postponed his scheduled New Year's address. What should have been a moment of joy turned into a night of mourning in Crans-Montana, affecting the whole of Switzerland and abroad. Police asked those relatives who might have been there affected by the fire to contact authorities. Authorities did not identify any victims, but officials said that given the popularity of the destination, foreign nationals are likely to be significant among them. Police said the area around the bar had been cordoned off and that no fly zone had been imposed over Crans-Montana, likely make it easier for the helicopters to get in and out of the area. The town is home to roughly 10,000 people and has 2,800 hotel beds. Crans-Montana. Horrible situation in Switzerland, folks. Like I said, nothing good happens after midnight. And on New Year's, nothing good happens after 9 p.m. New Year's Eve. Nothing good happens after that. Yes, Ronell, I'm with you talking about Sir Ramaphosa. If I were president of the country, I'd be ashamed to talk about all the failures. But they're actually proud of them. When Ramaphosa gives a State of the Nation address, watch him crow about, we give Sasa grants to 27 million South Africans. This is an accomplishment. That's not an accomplishment. That's a sign of pervasive, massive failure when you have to give welfare to 27 million people in a country of 63 million people. That's not an achievement. That's a disaster. Azerbaijan and Armenia are pulling away from Russia and getting closer to Washington. The Trump-brokered peace agreement between Azerbaijan and Armenia is reshaping the South Caucasus and advancing U.S. strategic interests, despite lingering opposition to Congress, rooted in 1990s constituency politics. Trump administration has demonstrated a lot of dedication to our agenda of peace, said Hikmet Hajiev, foreign policy advisor to Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev. What needs to be appreciated is Trump's immediate reciprocity and full engagement. Brenda Schaefer, faculty member of the Naval Postgraduate School, says Azerbaijan matters strategically because it's the only country in the world that borders Russia and Iran, and it borders Turkey through its enclave. Azerbaijan supplies an estimated 40-50% of Israel's crude imports, while Israeli defense firms have been among Baku's most important military suppliers. Of course, the Baku-Jerusalem connection doesn't fit well with lying scumbags like Senator Adam Schiff of California. As a member of the House, he represented Glendale, the most densely Armenian area outside Armenia itself, for more than 2 decades. Well, of course, full of Armenians. That's why he has a problem with Azerbaijan. Well, suspected sabotage in the cutting of the undersea cable. Authorities seized the Fitborg, a cargo ship en route from Russia to Israel, when it sliced the cable in the Gulf. More cable slicing. What is going on here? A cargo ship severed undersea telecommunications cable in the Gulf of Finland on Wednesday, and what the Finnish police said they suspected was an act of sabotage. This is getting old. They keep ripping these cables up in the Baltic. Just start seizing all these ships. A tactical team with Finnish border guard rappelled onto the ship's deck from helicopters for seizing the vessel and taking custody of 14 crew members. The crew members from Azerbaijan, Georgia, Kazakhstan, and Russia. Ship is managed and operated by Albros Shipping and Trading, which is based in Istanbul. The company did not immediately respond to the seizing of its ship. The Prophet's son gave 40 Rand. Super chat. Thank you for that. Friedrich Merz says the relationship between the U.S. and Germany is changing. Of course it's changing because you are a censorship platform fascist government, and we don't like fascists. And you're ungrateful bastards. You'd all be half Asian speaking Russian if it wasn't for us. Chancellor Friedrich Merz of Germany, making New Year's address, said change would force Europe to do more and defend itself. You could defend yourself if you tried, you little wuss. In his first New Year's address since taking office back in May, Chancellor Friedrich Merz of Germany warned Germans on Wednesday their country's 8-decade partnership with the United States that bedrock of Germany's post-World War II security is changing. Our partnership with the United States of America, which has long been a reliable guarantee of our security, is changing. Yeah, you're freeloaders. You've gotten a free ride for 8 decades, and we've covered your expense. We burned trillions of dollars of our national wealth to protect your lazy asses. And your ingratitude is epic. Well, thieves tunneled into a bank vault in Germany and stole from safe deposit boxes. 3,000 safe deposit boxes were breached as thieves drilled through a basement wall and got away undetected, according to police in Gelsenkirchen. Thieves in Germany drilled a large hole in the wall. The burglars on the run, the police urged those with tips to come forward. They used the quiet of the Christmas holidays to drill into the bank's safe room, carving out a large, clean-cut hole through what appears to be layers of thick concrete and masonry. Photos of the safe room show piles of objects, including documents, tossed about. 3,000 safe deposit boxes broken into. Of course, they don't know how much money was actually stolen because nobody knows what was in the safe deposit boxes. Can you imagine? And this is the Sparkasse. Demand information. Look at all these people pissed off. Let us in. Wow. Wow. Wir wollen rein. Wow, we want in, we want in. Each box is insured for $12,000, but you better hope you don't have more than $12,000 in there. Yeah, Ocean's 14, I think it is, yep. Well, nostalgia comes to an end in Denmark as the postal carrier stops carrying letters. PostNord, the country's longtime service, is delivering its last letters. Few Danes send snail mail anymore, but some are mourning the end of an era. Andreas Birch's first job as a young boy was sticking postage stamps on envelopes. Week after week, he helped his father, the veterinarian in a rural village in central Denmark, mail bills to clients. Post office where his father used to drop off bags full of letters is now a kindergarten. And like many Danes, Mr. Birch hasn't licked a stamp in years. Honestly, couldn't remember the last time I sent a letter. Denmark has had a postal service for more than 400 years, but a steep decline in its use has led the Nordic country's longtime postal carrier to stop letter deliveries entirely. Takes effect Tuesday. Danes have seen it coming for months. The carrier PostNord has been removing its red mailboxes, once ubiquitous public fixture. Letter writing in the country has declined by more than 90% since 2000. Next year in Denmark, it will only deliver packages. Sweden will continue to deliver letters. Change comes as part of a result of a drop-off in government mail. Denmark is one of the world's most digitized countries. Only 250,000 people, or less than 5% of the population, still receive their official communications in the mail. Physical mail delivery has declined around the world, hurting postal carriers in Germany, Greece, Britain, and elsewhere. In March, PostNord announced 1,500 layoffs in Denmark from a workforce of 4,600. The end of mail delivery in Denmark. Well, that sucks. Copper's big year, folks. Woo, copper. Big year for copper. Yep. Copper prices finished a little bit lower at the end, but they were up quite a bit. Industrial metal fell 2% around $5.67 per pound. But copper registered a solid performance, rallying 41%, its biggest gain since 2009. Of course, a lot of that was driven by the stockpiling of copper here in the United States in response to President Trump's potential tariffs. Fraud allegations are engulfing the governor of Minnesota, little Timmy Tampon Waltz, the stolen valor clown. Yeah, that guy is the exact same age as me. Look at him. The exact same age as me. He looks like he's about 15 years older than me. Timmy Waltz, the stolen valor governor. Trump administration House Republicans moved jointly Wednesday to crack down on Minnesota daycare centers run by Somali immigrants. In battle, Minnesota Governor Tim Waltz, who was his party's nominee for vice president, and Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison are slated to testify at a second hearing in February. Ooh. We are not afraid to use denaturalization, Carolyn Levitt said. A tool that the President and the Secretary of State's disposal, as one of his administration has used before. Wow. Zoran the moron, the unqualified idiot who is now the mayor of New York City, courtesy of the Islamization of the Big Apple, now becomes the Big Fig. That's right, folks. The Big Fig. It's not the Big Apple anymore. The Islamization of New York. Idiots voting for a moron. who has no qualifications whatsoever. Standing next to him, of course, is the criminal Letitia James with her felonious, illicit prosecutions of Donald Trump. Zohran Mamdani officially took office as mayor of New York City in a private ceremony held at a shuttered relic in the city's subway. Zohran the moron. Well, Trump has vetoed a couple bills, his first of the year. One is a water pipeline for Colorado. The president seems to be at war with the Democratic-led state as he raises the pressure in Colorado to release a convicted election denier, Tina Peters. Ooh, denying election, that's a criminal act offense? Well, we ought to go after a certain candidate, Stacey Abrams, from Georgia, and Hillary Clinton, who still claims that she never lost the 2016 election. Yeah. What did he used to be sworn in? I didn't see that. That's the Quran. That's not the Bible. Well, maybe the Bible and the Quran. I don't know. There's two items there. Mifty Colorado's votes against him in 3 successful elections and furious refusal to free Tina Peters, a convicted election denier. Convicted election denier. That's a criminal act. I mean, how can what's the criminal act she committed? Denying election isn't a crime. I didn't say it was the Bible. I said he's got 2 documents there. His administration has cut off transportation money, reallocated the Military Space Command, and vowed to dismantle leading climate and weather research center, rejected disaster relief funds for rural counties. Well, I guess you can say that Trump is being spiteful towards Colorado, but Colorado deserves it, unfortunately. Well, an appeals court has blocked Hawaii's ridiculous climate change tourism tax. Ninth Circuit Court granted injunction pending appeals of a lower court ruling. 2 judges of the U.S. Court of Appeals from the Ninth Circuit imposed an injunction on the law. The injunction against Hawaii's tax is in place pending resolution of the Appeals Court. Circuit Judge Andrew Hurwitz and Daniel Bress stated in the order. The state increased the tax to 14% and extended it to cruise ships with Act 96. The law states that Hawaii is experiencing a climate emergency due to the effects of climate change, such as rising temperature. The money garnered from the tax would go towards climate action. But this is just simply theft by political authorities. And it must be stopped. And we'll see if they win the ultimate court case, but for now, an injunction is in place. President Trump has banned travel as effective today, 1 January, from 7 additional countries. Burkina Faso, Laos, Mali, Niger, Sierra Leone, South Sudan, and Syria. Those take effect today. For immigrants and non-immigrants, no one can enter the country from those countries. President Trump has rolled back the tariffs on furniture and kitchen cabinets, watered down import levies for a host of products in response to address concerns about the cost of living. He delayed by a year tariff increases on upholstered furniture, kitchen cabinets, and vanities, the latest move to walk back levies in the face of consumer frustration. Import duties on cabinets and vanities were meant to rise to 50% from 25%, but not now. Flu cases are rising with a strain that apparently is making elderly ill. Cases of influenza in the United States are rising, driven by a new strain that public officials worry current vaccines may not protect against as effectively. Number of hospitalizations, emergency room, and outpatient visits and deaths associated with the flu have shot up. Winter creates ideal conditions for airborne viruses such as flu, COVID, and RSV to circulate as people gather indoors for long stretches and travel for the holidays. Northeast is already feeling the surge. On Christmas Day, New York health officials said the state experienced the highest number of flu cases in a single week since they began tracking data. Wow, all the way back in 2004. Here you go. Look at the flu cases. .2 cases per 100,000 people. Pretty crazy, huh? Saks Fifth Avenue is preparing for bankruptcy because they missed a debt payment. Owners of Saks Fifth Avenue and Neiman Marcus are in talks with creditors about financing for a coming Chapter 11 filing. Saks Global is preparing to file for bankruptcy within days after missing an interest payment on a debt it took to buy Neiman Marcus. Saks has struggled financially since taking on the debt burden in 2024, and the luxury retail chain's delays in paying vendors have contributed to weaker merchandise offerings and sales. Saks failed to make an interest payment on more than $100 million that was due to Tuesday to holders of its bonds, people familiar with the matter said. As the company's financial problems mounted over the past year, Saks sought to raise cash through asset sales such as a Beverly Hills property. It's also explored selling 49% in Bergdorf Goodman, a high-end department store acquired as part of its $2.7 billion merger with Neiman Marcus. They're among the most fabled department stores in the U.S., founded more than a century ago. All 3 of the brands helped pioneer the luxury retail market. But they're in trouble. Mamdani's Muslim paradise of New York. Muslims have become a political and democratic force in the Islamization of America. Yep. In a city famous for its ethnic diversity, where power has been held by successive waves of Dutch, Irish, Italian, Jewish, and black residents, Muslims are now rising to prominence, becoming a distinct political force. The 34-year-old moron is now mayor in no small measure because of these folks. There are an estimated 1 million Muslims in New York City, nearly 1 in 8 residents, or 12% of the population. Muslims count for less than 1% of the population in Manhattan and from 1 to 6% in Staten Island, Brooks, the Bronx, and Queens. Muslims outnumber Jewish residents in 2 boroughs in Queens and the Bronx. They're pushing Jews aside. In Texas, a 400-acre Muslim development sparks controversy. Lawsuits and investigations have followed a development that is self-described as the epicenter of Islam in America. In Texas. What the hell is going on? This rural town with farmland stretching to the horizon might as well be a million miles from New York City and skyscrapers. But the residents of Big Apple and Josephine have something in common. Controversy over the construction of a mosque. Perhaps not, since the Ground Zero Mosque was proposed 2 blocks from World Trade Center, has the mosque drawn so much attention. The development encompasses 402 acres of farmland outside Josephine, a town with 8,800 residents, founded in 1888 by a railroad company when cotton was king. 1,000 homes, a mosque, a K-12 faith-based school, sports facilities, community college, senior housing, and an outreach center. The Muslim-led community would be located in an area largely populated by white and Hispanic residents whose religion is Christianity. Local residents have voiced concerns about Islamic radicalization, Sharia law, and communities they believe may not integrate into U.S. culture. Wow. The enclave's developers and Muslim groups have denounced legal actions as Islamophobic and violation of their rights. Yeah, right. So that's construction of the World Trade Center in New York back in 2010. The fact is, religious freedom is a central part of the Texas Constitution, but bad actors like Epic and Epic City try to use religion as a form of segregation, says Governor Abbott. And he's right. He's right. Well, let me show you what we call fake news, folks. Fake news. You ready for this? This is lying media. So the Washington Post fraudulently claims that PG County, Prince George's County in Maryland, is a predominantly black county. Yeah, that's a lie. Data centers spark a fight for the soul of this mostly black Maryland county. Residents of Prince George's County say worries about environmental impacts and higher energy costs are more acute in a community where residents have felt disenfranchised. By Letitia Beecham. Letitia Beecham is a propagandist, obviously, based on this story. Letitia Beecham is pushing a narrative that's false, claiming this county is majority predominantly black, mostly black, and that because they're black, they feel disenfranchised. To automatically assume that black Americans feel disenfranchised is bigotry and racism. And we're going to expose her lies right now. Taylor Francis McCollum remembers when Landover Mall in Prince George's County was a staple of family moments, but that thing went out of business 30 years ago. It sat idle and demolished, leaving residents in now predominantly black Maryland. Now, black Maryland doesn't exist. That's an adjective, you moron, lowercase. Fraser's June petition against the project has raked in more than 21,000 signatures. So they don't want this data center. They just want to keep suffering. In some pockets of the county, nearly 1 million residents has become predominantly black during the early 1990s. Predominantly black during the early 1990s. You see that lie? She says that Prince George's County has been predominantly black since the 1990s. But here's the problem, ladies and gentlemen. And I don't use AI, but it was much quicker than looking up. Hang on a second. So this is the liar. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to show you AI response from a Google search, and I'm going to show you data from a proper website as well. So Montgomery County, Maryland. Oh, I'm sorry, that's Montgomery County. That's supposed to be Prince George's. Excuse me. How did we get that? I'm sorry. All right, well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I got the data from Montgomery County. Well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe PG is predominantly black. Oh, my goodness. I have to give her an apology. How did I get Montgomery County on there? Nah, she's right. 58%. Ooh, that's embarrassing. I thought that was Montgomery County. They're right next to each other. My mistake. I apologize to the journalist. She's right. It's 58% black. I thought that said... That's why I was mistaken. I thought she said Montgomery County, where there's twice as many whites. She said PG. I should have caught that. In my rush to deliver the news, I got it wrong. My apologies to the journalist. She's not a propagandist. She's correct. Ooh, she's right. Wow. Christoph on Arden, you are correct. A year later, they'll be angry they can get a data center because they'll get a warehouse with traffic wearing out the roads and hitting pedestrians. Well, George Clooney's now officially a Frenchman. Yeah, he's a Frenchman. Did you know that? George Clooney's a Frenchman. The actor and his wife, Amal Clooney, were granted French citizenship. George Clooney married himself the lovely Arab lady. And he's a French citizen, but he can't speak French for beans. Here they don't take photos of kids. There aren't any paparazzi hidden at the gates. That's number one for us. We also have a house in the United States, but our happiest place is on this farm where the kids can have fun. He has 100 acres of grapes, 1,200 olive trees, and a vegetable garden. My French is horrible, he said last year. Well, the U.S. State Department and the president should strip George Clooney of his American citizenship. You cannot be a dual national. Welcome to France. Stay there. Stay in France. Enjoy France. And that's the news for today, folks. Have you hit the like button yet? Please feel free to hit the like button. It costs nothing but a moment of your time. Again, I apologize to that journalist.
That was easy.
I would have sworn that said Montgomery County. It was PG. And that's why I jumped on it, because I knew that Montgomery County is not a majority black county. PG. She said PG. My error. Well, that's a bad way to start the year, with a mistake. I never thought he was all that handsome to begin with. He's always looked like a North African to me. Not particularly attractive person. Even more to fear, the problem is bigger than your mistake. What's that? After a year, okay, living on a farm, okay. Speak what they want to the life, okay. Washington Post might as well have been run by Joseph Goebbels. That's true. That's probably why I was inclined to just misread that. Current U.S. administration is more or less make or break for the Western world. True. Yeah, New York voted for that. CARE is like the ANC. Yeah, you're right about that. Yep. Erica says, please. Oh, Erica, you're using all caps. We're going to sanction you. That's Hendo's per domain. I can see people not voting Republican if they aren't stern on these issues. If people don't go to jail for these scum isn't sent back to their countries. Yep. Proxima Life. What's going on, Proxima Life? Monterey Seabrits, what's going on? Been a long day battling gridlock. Oh, my goodness. Shouting, we are coming for you, trying to entice people. Entice, you mean to, not entice. Incite people. Thank you, Dragon, for your membership. All the stress from the fraud. Just got attacked by people, black people from EFF with a knife saying, this is my land. Before today, I did not believe the issue was like this. What do? I don't know what to tell you, Proxima Life. That's not very helpful. You just got attacked by black people. Where? On your farm, at your house, on the streets of Cape Town, in Polokwane, in Nelspruit? Really, no one can really help you if you just hear that. So good to last be on your channel, says Johan the Rock. We as Afrikaners have struggled since 1830, 188 years of struggle. Last somebody's noticed us. Well, I've noticed you for decades, Johan, but I worked in the intelligence community and could not share my thoughts publicly with people. But for the past 6 years, I've been shouting from the rooftops, and the shadow banning makes it difficult for people to find my channel. And once you subscribe, you often get unsubscribed by YouTube. So please, if you value the channel, make sure that you go back and check it. I don't want to tell you do it every day, but do it frequently. Make sure you're still subscribed. And you probably won't get notifications. So it's smart to join one of the WhatsApp groups or the Telegram groups so that you get notified of all the videos, because they definitely do their best to hide them. Okay. What else I got here? But Vundel Kirk is an historical monument. I think it's a bit drastic. Destroyer wanted to get a point across. More likely it was an accident. Perhaps tricks, but the fact it's deconsecrated shows you what heathens the Dutch have become. What do you mean you met your wife after 9 p.m.? If that's ever happened to me. Well, okay, Napoleon. There are exceptions to every rule. The less we sweat in peace, the more we bleed in war. Would be ashamed as to president of the country. Okay, I already got that. Okay. Is there a membership bitter ender? Thank you for your membership. 8 months. To me. It's not a cough. It's phlegm again. I stopped taking the medicine and I'm getting phlegm buildup again. People have said it was the Starbucks. I haven't had Starbucks since November 4th. It's nearly 2 months since I had a Starbucks. Either the bottles I drink at home or the ones I haven't had any Starbucks. And the reason I've done it so far is because people say, "Oh, you're addicted to those things. You can't. You have to have it." Now, I'm not addicted to anything except life. That's the only thing I'm addicted to is life. Anything I eat or drink, I can just quit like that. I'm not stuck on anything. So that's a perfect example of it. Anyway, now we got 580 likes. Thank you for that. So, yeah, no, I stopped taking the asthma medication, and so the phlegm is building up. Why does the city have to supply a venue for that? I have no idea why the city has to supply anything for an event. They can deny events, but apparently this is a big deal. Hopefully we'll see you in Pretoria when Ramaphosa pays for your flights. Oh, hey, Roy. Yeah, well, we're working on that. You think they'll change for the better? No, the ANC won't change for the better. So maybe that's one family. That's why they're going to have to face going this year. Roy Davey, may your new year be filled with goodwill you deserve. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Hey, thanks to everybody who showed up in the New Year's programs, the Sylvester Obman programs we have for South Africa. Drink the sugar. Life does not have to be bitter. Exactly, Ray John. No, I don't have sinusitis. There's nothing in my... No. Oh, Ronaldo says I'm addicted to YouTube. Nope. I'm just addicted to helping people, I suppose. Speaking of which, now I'm not going to chastise anybody, but okay. So someone sent me a message and said their case has been stuck. I get thousands of these messages, but this one I took the time to respond to. Our case is stuck. Okay. Help us. I said, give me your case number and give me your name. Let me see if I can't find somebody to help you. That was 2 days ago. Today I received a message. Have you found anything out about our case? Okay. You folks need to have realistic expectations of the world. How in God's green acre would anybody have a realistic expectation that I would get an answer for them between Tuesday, the 30th of December, and Thursday, the 1st of January, a public holiday? During the Christmas season, government employees are gone for 2 weeks. I've emphasized this 1,000 times. People have gone home for the holidays. This is why refugees are not flying over to America right now. They will resume shortly. How would I possibly get an answer for you? Do you think I have access to the database? Some people must really believe I do work for the CIA. But the CIA doesn't even have access to USCIS databases. Do you think I just sit here and go, my goodness. It's some people it's unbelievable. Y'all really need to take a serious chill pill. Some of you people, you really do. I mean, these are people that have been contacted, they've been talked to, they've been interviewed, and now 2 days later, it's insane. It's just not even real. And I'm going to say this right now, which is going to hurt some people's feelings for the refugee program. If you put in an email and you put a statement of interest in, and then you did the intake questionnaire and you still haven't come to America, and you're upset because it's taking too long, you also have unrealistic expectations. You do. I have empathy for you, but I'm telling you, you have unrealistic expectations. We have to remind you that people sitting in the Dadaab camp in Kenya with 650,000 refugees living in tents for 35 years are waiting to come to America, Germany, the Netherlands, UK, Australia. And you've waited 8 to 10 months. I remind everyone, on the 6th of February, 2025, you had no hope, no offer, nothing. And this whole thing was done on a shoestring with no funding, which it still doesn't have. In the midst of the entire program being shut down, in the midst of the people around the world being denied access to America because the origins are coming from, in the midst of massive corruption in the refugee program, President Trump saw fit to open a window for South Africans. Now, if that hurts feelings, I'm sorry. It's not intentional. I'm not trying to be spiteful or mean. I'm just trying to give people a reality check here, okay? People need a reality check. And look, I empathize. I know a number of people, like Ian Moon, is still waiting. Others have been waiting a long time. I get it. But as we keep getting one case after another case of people saying, hey, it works, you'll get out, they'll contact you. I mean, it's almost like every time I turn around, someone writes to me and I patiently write back to them, wasting their time and my time, telling them that it's going to be okay. And like a day or two later, I hear from them, I got a phone call, I got an email, I'm scheduled for an interview. There are a lot of people ahead of you or behind you. Sean Folshank. Folks, I know people who took money out of their pocket and flew from PE, from Cape Town to Pretoria to be interviewed in the first 100 and haven't got a ticket yet, are still in South Africa. I know at least 5 people like that. Not one of them is complaining to me. And all of them have basis complaining, if anybody. They took money out of their pocket and flew up there when there wasn't even a program. And they still haven't gotten out of the country. They weren't denied. They've been turned down, but they haven't gone yet. I have no idea who Jason Hansen is. Why Cinderella? What's that all about? You all do realize that the poor people also need a rest for holidays. Well, Marissa, the Kenyans and the Amerikaners are still working. They're not working today, most likely, but they were working over the holidays. And some people got their messages. Finney says, you're a saint with way more patience than I'll ever have. Yeah, it's amazing. I had no patience as a young man. Paul says, thank you so much for everything you've done, and everyone will continue to do. Wish you amazing 20. My neck is so sore. Let's hope the channel grows. You need what? What WhatsApp number? What are you talking about? You talking about me? Send me an email. That's the answer, not a WhatsApp number. Too many people sharing that number. Well, Arctic, that may be the case. A lot of the early ones got out and they never watched Shillingham, but a lot of people have gone over recently and are still watching the channel. We got a lot of people watching the channel. Okay, let's do this. Here, I'm going to do this, okay? We're going to do a poll real quick because we got almost 600 people here. Are you a... It's only for South Africans. Oh, come on. Okay, let's see what happens here. This is going to be an interesting poll. Or... let's see what we get here, okay? So 4 choices here. Please, folks, almost 600 people. Let's see if we can't see a response on this poll. All right. Last communication 1770 you told me a few weeks ago it's normal. No, unfortunately, JSA, it is. I mean, it is very normal. And if we take the timelines of South Africa's experience and we apply them to other parts of the world where refugees are being processed, you'd be shocked at how quickly you're still getting responses. I know it doesn't feel that way. Cinderella likes watching the channel. I'm glad. No, Philip hopes I do need 1 million followers. If I have 1 million followers, I will make a living off of this channel, and I could stop doing all the other things to distract me. Yep. Yeah, Utopia says, I can remember 2025 like it was yesterday. Well, that's because it was. I'm aware of a youngster that sent an email a fortnight ago. Okay, that doesn't help me. Here, CNN is losing followers faster than I lose brain cells. Mary Duplessis, you probably covered this. Iran and the latest unrest out of silence. Not sure. You talk about the Iranians participating in Mosi 3. I've covered that extensively and even made a video on it. That one actually got 45,000 views. Spent 1 year in Minnesota and absolutely loved it. Compared to South Africa, you stated that Minnesota is gone. Do you think Minnesota will make a comeback with these? No, I don't think so. Minnesota has had problems for years, and you probably didn't recognize it right now. Minnesota is wildly leftist, and its laws are set up that harm Minnesota residents. So, no, I don't think Minnesota will come back anytime soon. We all make mistakes. Oh, Julie Reynolds, you're way behind. Yeah, well, that's because I misread it. I thought it said, I would have sworn it said Montgomery County. I read what I wanted to read because I wanted to give the Washington Post a hard time. Yeah, that's on me. I made that mistake. And I corrected it on air. And apologized to the journalist. Yep. New Year's with all Southern people was a great time. Yeah, Reno was fantastic. Okay, a lot of folks must just watch the stream and learn how things really work and things go smoothly. Oh, Ronell. 51 months. You do reserve the OG label. You're a rock star. All right. Why are a bunch of rowboats calling themselves Mosi 3 making such a splash? That's a good question, Charles Van Onselen. Yeah, Neff, I did the poll very quickly. So whatever, we'll add those two together if you want me to, okay? Well, South African in South Africa could be a person that is interested, but not waiting to go. Raspberry asked, that's what's, so I should have worded, applied for the program. But the ones waiting to go, that's okay. That's not the best label in the poll. I have to vote A and D. Just vote on one of them. You're not interested in the program, then that's the one. That's obviously the one you want. D. Okay? It's not hard. Peter says program's going fast, but it has to go faster. Yeah, and you're right. There's nothing you can do about it. Dylan Comberg, what's going on? There's an OG. There's nothing you can do about it. Okay, we got 271 votes already. Okay. All right. So only 1% are U.S. refugees in South Africa. Wow. Maybe Arctic is right. Maybe all the refugees, except for Willem and Kara and a couple others, have said, screw Chris. We got what we wanted. We've used him. We're done. We're not watching his program anymore. 1%. That means not even 3 people have admitted they're refugees in the States. I think Willem was here earlier, so that's 1. Wow. Wow. So my channel just disappear when you all get it the hell out of South Africa. Rohan, there's the others too. There's 2, Rohan and Willem. Wow. Do I think the CIA, FBI, and UCS are watching this channel? No, the CIA is not watching my channel. There's nothing to be learned here. The FBI is not watching my channel. I'm not involved in any criminal activity. USCIS, yeah, I suspect a few USCIS people are watching the program occasionally, particularly when I do videos about the refugee program. Now you're just making silly questions, G9. Do I know what happened to Kat Yabeden? No. Did something happen to her? I mean, your question's a loaded question. What do you mean? Did something happen to her? I haven't talked to Kat. I know she stepped away. She had a dispute with that group and she stepped away. Let me see. By the way, let me check in the Dragons game. Is it over? Looks like it's over.
Rodri Williams, masa hi. Y pac di ar un mlaen. Dyna ni. Dyna'r fuddugoliaeth.
So did the Dragons win? Yeah, it looks like the Dragons might have won. Okay, let's see how I picked in Super Brew. Super Brew. Come on. My dashboard. Oh, I had the Scarlets winning. Wow, Dragons won. Let me down again. I swear, I just can't win sometimes. All right, we got 300 votes in that poll. Martin says from the 15th to 15th January, things, nope, things will pick up on 6 January. Relax. Francois wants to go badly. All right, we got 317 answers to the poll. 600 people still here. I'll be one of them for sure. I love the way you present the news, both with humor and trying to be impartial. Well, Werner, the key is that I'm honest about my bias. Everyone has bias. Whether we intend to or not, we have a bias, an inherent bias for or against certain things. We can moderate that, and I do that to some degree, but I'm very clear about specific biases. But there's a difference between being biased and being objective. You can be biased, like the Stormers are the best rugby team in South Africa. That's my bias. Not changing. But I can also be objective. The Stormers have been shite this year. They're 7-0, but they have not played like a 7-0 team. They have yet to put together a consistently strong game from start to finish and dominate anybody. It just hasn't happened. That's objectivity. Francois Ferrer says, thank you. 40 Rand, thank you. Refresh the page, Karen. So you guys got to start learning my hand and arm skills. When I do this, it means refresh your page. Refresh your page. Yeah, Katya Beaton disappeared. She was doing a bunch of stuff with Ronaldo. Don't know what she's done now. Let's see. July, she was still doing Thursdays with a coach. I don't know if she does anymore. Yeah, she's kind of disappeared. She's got her website, Self-Love Journeys. So here's her website, Self-Love Journeys. That's not it. Hang on. No, I haven't talked to Katya in months. Wow, that's a long intro there. So, yeah, Katya Beaton. So I haven't seen anything from her lately. 336 votes. I'm going to get close to poll now. So it looks like most people are waiting to go, which means she's applied and you're waiting to go. Not the best poll I've done. No, I don't think she's come to the USA. Where's the poll? It's not showing up over there. It is. Okay. Do a poll on how many people have gotten conditional approval. No. Okay, I'll do that. Katya got chick issues, says Garrett. Okay. My rugby channel is called Rugby Ascendant. Can one of the moderators put a link to Rugby Ascendant? By the way, at 1 o'clock in 45 minutes, we have another refugee interview. In case you didn't know that, we have a refugee interview. This will be an anonymous one. A refugee in America. We're going to talk about that. And this is a refugee who's had some challenges. That things haven't gone smoothly. So in the interest of always bringing the truth to our broadcast, we're going to talk to somebody who's not had the best experience. So it will be anonymous, and that will be taking off. Okay. Thank you, Loretta. You got sorted with a phone. Look at that. Okay, Loretta, how did that happen? Did somebody come to your rescue? Arctics 2 somersaults and backflip to get sound back. Youngster sent email. Okay, all right, hang on. Thank you. It's a response from a long time ago. Gmail. Okay, I'm looking for. Okay. Fortunately, it's a common name, so. I have lots of Matthews. A lot of stuff here. December 25th. Okay, here's... I have no... Oh, okay. Well, it's not from Matthew. It's from someone else. I'm going to have to review this whole thing because that's much more complicated than I can look at in a couple seconds. Sent me tons of attachments. Thank you, Francois Ferrer, for the 40 Rand. I don't like the fact you don't like Donald Trump. All right, so what was the question? You guys want me to do a poll on what now? Where's that? Do a poll. How many people got conditional approval? Okay, provisional approval. Start a poll. Okay. Oh, where was that at? It was Paige who wrote that. Let's see what else. All right, now we got it. This is a little bit better one. Okay, so the questions are provisional approval, PRM, SOI, or intake not contacted. Refugee and USA are not interested. Now you got another poll. We're down to 541 people. Let's see what you come up with. So there's another rugby game on now. Let me go check on that one. So it's Dragons and Scarlets is Scrooby. Now it's Osprey and Cardiff. They come on at 12:30, Osprey and Cardiff. But we'll have another stream after this, folks, with another FG, okay? And this FG is going to be called Tion because it's an anonymous one. So we'll redirect you to that. I need to come up with a better image for FG because I didn't have time to do it this morning. And I have another FG interview tomorrow. Just got to follow up with the person who offered to do it. Who said I don't like Donald Trump? I didn't like him during his apprentice days. I'll stop asking ridiculous more questions, okay? I mean, I only get so many questions in a poll, okay? That's why, okay. Well, Safa loading, I'll continue doing night owls. And if you're in periods further to the west of me, it'll be earlier. I do it at 10 or 11 o'clock, so it'll be 1-2 hours behind me or 3 hours behind me. So it'll be fine. You can do it. You can watch my show in the evening. That means if South Africans are coming over who are refugees and they come to America and get a job, that means that my night owls can be larger because you'll be over here. You won't be up in the middle of the night. Retrenchment in November. Very difficult. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Vera. Then don't answer the poll, Greta. Then don't answer the poll. People ask for the poll. No one's obliged to answer the poll. You know? And how is it dangerous? Nobody can see your poll results. It's anonymous. I have no idea who voted for what, unless you tell me. It's not dangerous. Call, but no mail yet. Wanted to know if they're considering... Yeah, no, hey, it's Zipra. We're well aware of that. I mean, this isn't exactly, news flash that people don't have money. 40 Rand, trust me. That's all I deal with is people complaining about not having money every day. I have said this many, many, many times. People have claimed that they've been told that they can get interviews in Durban and Port Elizabeth. Every person that's ever told me that has come back subsequently and said, no, they got scheduled for Pretoria or Joburg, not for Port Elizabeth, not for Durban. People have been falsely claiming since August that there are interviews in Durban. There are no interviews in Durban. To my knowledge, there's not been a single interview in Durban or Port Elizabeth. And I can confirm that to be 100% true. Gee, wonder how I know that, but I can confirm it to be true. So, I don't know if they'll have them there. And if they don't, I can empathize and join my money, but not to hurt people's feelings, but at some point, people are just going to say, tough titties. Tough titties. Boom, plan, figure a way to make it out. We had people early this year constantly whining. It was unbelievable the whining that was going on. Neuhoff said, I live in Namibia. Yeah, Namibia's going the same direction now. Botswana is kind of hanging on the fence. It was good, but it's gone sideways under Masisi, and it's not gotten better under the new administration. But remember we started this whole thing early this year, and the constant, I have no money for passports. You have no empathy for me. You're so mean. You don't care. $30 for a passport. That's what a passport costs. The fact you don't have a passport is concerning to begin with. $30. I can't get a passport. How are you eating every day? And of course, many of these people who couldn't get passports but they can smoke. Many of these people couldn't get passports. Kasselager. They can buy beer. Some of them are truly desperate. But the point here is that all the complaining, but several people who didn't have any money found a way. They sold things. They hustled on the streets. They got themselves passports. They found a way to get to where they had to get a passport. I appreciate that people don't have money to travel back and forth. Like I said, I know people from Western Cape and from PE who flew on their dime as part of the initial pilot program, and they haven't come to America yet. For them, it's approaching a year now. They've laid out money. Also, all the people got jerked around, told to go from Durban to Joburg, and then they start heading home and get a text message saying you need to be in Cape Town tomorrow for your medicals. What the hell is that? They're driving back to Durban. Couldn't possibly get to Cape Town by tomorrow, even if they turn around and drive there now. Now, I appreciate it, but I mean, asking me and pointing out the obvious isn't going to change anything. The U.S. government is aware of the problem. It costs money, a shitload of money to do this. You guys don't have any idea what this stuff costs. All right, let me just do the math here. Let me do the math, okay? Per diem in Pretoria. Okay, per diem Pretoria. Okay. Okay, so it costs the U.S. government $300, $286 per person. They come over. That's just to be in Pretoria. $286 for 30 people times 30. That's $8,500 per day just in the cost to be there. Now, do that for 30 days times a month. That's $257,000 for 1 month. They typically come for 90 days, so times three. That's $772,200 of unprogrammed expenses just for people to be there. Never mind flying over there. Never mind all the other stuff it costs to get involved here. Never mind the transport that has to be done. If the embassy doesn't have sufficient vehicles, they rent vehicles. They probably have vehicles in this case, but many of these people will be allowed to rent vehicles. Throw that on top. That's a separate expense. So $772,000 for 90 days for 30 people to be there. That's just the Americans. That's just the direct expense of being in South Africa to process people. Now, $772,000 for 3 months is 13,127,000 Rand minimum has been spent just to process people with just the Americans. Add in the flights, which are all going to cost $3,000. $3,000 for 30 people. Let's do the math on that. 3,000. Oops, that's 30,000. 3,000 times 30 people. That's $90,000 in flights minimum. That's $1 million just for 30 people to come to South Africa and process this. That doesn't even include the fact that they're all being paid salaries and they're not doing their jobs in Washington, which was something else, which is being neglected while they're in South Africa taking care of you. Not to mention, it was 142,000 Rand a month to rent the Woodmead facility. Woodmead facility is rented from August, September, October, November, December. 5 months, and they still have a contract. 5 times 142,000 Rand 5 months times 142,000 Rand. Okay? Times, that's not right. It's 710,000 Rand divided by 17. That's another $42,000 to rent a building for 5 months. You have no idea what this stuff costs. And this is a conservative estimate. There's a lot more cost involved here. They have no comprehension of what's going on. No, it's just me. I got to be there. My case is the worst. Dante van Wyck's life is in jeopardy. His life is in jeopardy. People are out trying to murder him. He has to move from place to place every night, and he hasn't come over yet. But my case is a priority. You think your case is more urgent than Dante van Wyck's case? Tell me. This is the man whose case Saul Jewish Malema brought to book for his crimes. People want to kill him. And he's not over here yet. Oh, yeah, I haven't started on the medical. Yeah, every one of those tests cost us money. Yep. And the immunizations. Every immunization. We're talking millions and millions of dollars. And none of this was programmed. So let me tell you this, okay? For the people that don't have a passport, all right? Or the people that have money to go somewhere. You have no money for that right now. Now, tomorrow I tell you, you have to go to Mauritius. Where are you going to get the money from? Where are you going to get the money to pay for your visa, to book the flight, to pay for hotels, to pay for cars, to pay for transportation, to pay for meals? Where does that money come from? Now, that's what happened to the State Department. President Trump shut down the funding for the refugee program and said, make it happen. From where? In addition to you just finding money, they have laws that prevent them from spending certain money on certain things. They can only spend operating expenses for operating expenses. They can't take maintenance money and use it for operations. They can't take construction money and divert it to operations. So someone else is suffering so you can come over here. Now, I'm not chewing out people who want to be refugees. I'm just trying to give people a reality check about what's actually happening here. A lot of people are completely clueless and don't care. All they care about is themselves. Many people are patient, and I appreciate that. But a lot of people, I mean, honestly, you write to me on a Tuesday during a holiday when people are gone for 2 weeks and say, do you have an answer for me on Thursday, which is a federal holiday? I actually received a message today from somebody who wrote to me on Tuesday. I didn't promise them anything. This is why I don't promise you people anything. Because of that sort of response. It's crazy. You're right, Todd Smith. People should start to appreciate what's been done on their behalf. And all of this in the midst of lies about Trump, lies about the program, it's for Afrikaners, it's for whites, it's for farmers, all lies. Thank you for your membership there, Johan van Heerden. Thank you. All of this, that's the backdrop on all this is going on. Somebody thinks somebody pays for something? No, I think someone misunderstood Charmaine. No, we pay for the medical. Yep. Sigi misunderstood her point. Or maybe I misunderstood her point. Yes, Briss, I saw the young guy's video, but he's not the first one. The people who reported on it previously were censored by YouTube. Their channels were taken away. I reported on that during COVID, the fraud that was taking place. Because it's been going on for years. But I didn't go deep into it because I saw people's channels disappear, and I stopped reporting on it. Theo says I'm on point. Yes, it's great. Put the freaking effort instead of wanting evening on a silver spoon. I had under review on the previous poll. All right, let me close the poll. Now, this is concerning. 206 votes, 45% have never been contacted. That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, let me end that poll. So that means over 90 people have not been contacted to put those things in. Notice yesterday's stream that you pronounced Francois van Kolk with an accent. Jan, I've interviewed Francois van Kolk. There's no accent. And I just said van Kolk. What are you talking about? I know it's a nickname. Good Lord, guys. Welcome to the party. Okay, I need to save that screenshot. I should have done that poll earlier. If you can't pull your finger out of your butt to get a passport, how are you going to make it USA? Sally, I'm not sure where you get the figure coming from, 67,000 per person, but that might be right. Someone last night mentioned it, South African refugee tour. Nope. Okay, let me ask you this question. Is this the person you're talking about? Hang on a second. Let me just check if this is the person you're talking about. Okay, hang on. Let me see if I've got this image here still. There it is. Okay, hang on. Let me save this. Shoot, that won't let me save it that way. Okay. God bless it. I hate this. Freaking WhatsApp got updated. It sucks now. Okay, let me see if I can't find this now. Okay. Is this the person you're talking about? Okay. I did a little research. There it is. Okay. Is this the story you're talking about? Natasha Morrison. Legal Talk South Africa, Natasha Morrison. Good evening, legals. I'm posting on behalf of my cousin that needs only professional advice here. Here's the message. I'm a Trump Afrikaner refugee in the USA. I'm separating from my husband. I want to come back to South Africa with my 2 children. We have family. How can we come back? All right. Is that the story you're talking about? I've done some research on that and can find no evidence. Just want to say interviews are not being done in Durban. Yeah, exactly. I know they're not being done in Durban. And they're not being done in PE. Exactly. There's nothing in that. Ingrid says, I'm ashamed to apologize about my people being so ungrateful. No, don't worry about it. There's always people like that. People are desperate, but then some people think they're more important than other people. It's just the way that things work. Is that the one you're talking about, so-called refugee? I don't know about last night. That's from last week. Yeah, it's BS. All right, all the amounts. Okay, thank you, Sal. I was wondering how you came with that figure. That's a conservative figure. That's conservative because you didn't include the flight in there. But we're not paying the flight. The International Organization of Migration gives you a loan, but that's probably about $1,500 to $2,500 per person for the flights. Well, I think it's BS too. Sorry, I've done some research on it. There's no indication. The U.S. government is unaware of any refugee trying to come back to South Africa. Unaware of it. Because in order to leave the country, they're going to have to notify the U.S. government. You can't just simply get on a plane. If you get on a plane, you go to an airport, and you don't have approval from the U.S. government to go to South Africa, you're going to be stopped at an airport. So the U.S. government would have to be aware of your decision to go back to South Africa. The U.S. government, to my knowledge, has no information on this. Exactly. It's all bullshit. This is propaganda being made up. You're right, Trump counter. We haven't even talked. Well, that's because it's been so disparate. We've got problems with people not getting support supposed getting. But, that includes refugee cash assistance, food stamps, which aren't available anymore, but were available for the first 1,000 or so people came over here. Medicaid. You don't pay anything. I pay for medical care. You pay nothing. I spent 4 decades defending democracy. I got to pay. You pay nothing. Yep. Well, claims she wants a divorce from her husband. It's just bullshit. This is just propaganda being made up by people spilling the nonsense. Yep. You had to go to Home Affairs 11 times, get child's passport, and to pay twice for his passport of issues. Anton Potgieter, all I can advise you is that listen to the advice that I've been giving people for months. When people say that they're not getting progress in home affairs, we tell them to go to a different office. You're not forced to go to an office locally. You can go to a different office in South Africa. We've been saying this for months. And oftentimes my viewers say, hey, Rand Fontaine, what's going on? Are we suddenly having internet problems again? Oh, my goodness. Hang on. Let me see if my internet's acting up. I better not be. I'm going to be pissed. No, it's not acting up. It's just, it's the browser. Okay. It's the browser. The browser's tab is acting up. There we go. I'm back. Coming on. Come on. Yeah. So we get viewers who say, oh, I went to Brockpan, or I went to Zeerost, or I went to, and they say these are the places to go. You need to go, but in your case, it's probably too late now because you've dealt with them. You've paid twice. Why would you pay twice? I don't understand that. I know how corrupt these people are, but I don't understand that. You didn't have a receipt? Yeah, I don't know that group, Lady Liberty. You recommend people stay away from it. It's like some black people spreading rumors around you saying how they or someone they know have to go work there and they can't even stay there. So, yeah, there's no black people working in Orania. Go, okay, Anton, so I'm sorry to hear that, but the answer is a different place. Exactly. How do you go to the U.S. busy with a divorce and a 14-year-old that she has to have permission for her husband to take out of the country? Yeah, I don't know. No, I think that the story, Marissa, is supposedly this person, if they exist, came to America with their husband. Now they want a divorce. So none of them have been here a year and they want a divorce from the person who came over. It's implausible. News 24, I didn't see any story from News 24 on that. That's interesting. News 24's got a story on it. Let me go to News 24 and see if I can't find that story. News 24, and let's just look up refugee and see if it comes up. Let's see what comes up under refugees. I don't see anything. No, it's just nonsense. Feeney says, if anyone wants to come back, then they weren't being persecuted. Economic migrants that realize they'll have to put in work and won't get anything at Silver Plat. Hey, how's it going, Sven Stalabard? We went to the Gadashwea office in Kimberley and waited 2 weeks. There you go. Very good. So if you're in Kimberley, there you go. See, that's people usually tell us that, Anton. I'm sorry that you're experienced, but we've been telling people for months, not so much recently, but this passport rush was all mostly back in February, March, April, May, June, July, and August, and we were telling people to try other ones. Full medical once a year that entails more testing than was done at the medical center. It cost me $2,300 on average. Second payment was rather made before they screwed up again. Ah, okay, got you. Oh, you got it sorted now, Anton. Well, I'm glad you got it sorted, but I'm sorry it took so long. Yeah, for me, I just fill out a form online and send it in. I get a passport, but mine was screwed up too last year. Remember that? Was it last year? Almost didn't get here. Was it last year? I think it was. Hang on. Yeah, May of last year. I had to send up a flare and complain at where the hell's my passport at, and to pay for an expedited service in the end. Yeah, and it had been sitting in Philadelphia for like 6 weeks and almost didn't make it on my flight last year. Remember that? I had to get a new passport. Yep. Now this year I've got to renew my TSA pre. It's in June or whatever. I can do it now, but it doesn't restart. It starts when it ends. So I'm going to do it now so I don't wind up not getting my TSA pre. I'm also going to consider global entry. I'm going to check into that. Oh, Briefly published it. Yeah, no, Briefly. That's not a real publication. They contacted me. I told them they were talking full crap. They wanted me to prove my bona fides. I'm like, they wanted me to send my identification card to them to prove who I was. Seriously? That wouldn't prove who I am. I could have been someone who stole Wyatt's ID, sent you a picture of it, and then wrote to you, and then you believe it? No, I said, let's do a conversation. So I hosted Zoom. And then she didn't even appear on camera. Oh, I can't get my camera to work. Really? That's convenient. Briefly. Give me a break. Yeah, those people aren't journalists. Yeah. Although some of their articles have been kind to me, but they're not real journalists. Okay, so I'm here. A woman's reaction to an Afrikaner wanting to return to South Africa ignited debate around refugee status. Okay. Both resurfaced long-standing discussions. A South African Canadian woman sparked an online debate after reacting to a social media involving a original post shared by Natasha Morris on behalf of her cousin. Post comes against backdrop, white genocide. Well, that's not even a conversation.
Because we have a South African refugee that left South Africa for the United States because they got prosecuted, has now separated from her husband and wants to know how she can self-deport herself from the United States back to South Africa where her life was in danger.
Bullshit. Pure bullshit. Propaganda. 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 Doesn't have anything to do with her. And it's not even the person. This person claims to be the cousin. That's not even. It's just someone being. Sonia got one in 10 days. If I don't get to go over, I'll have to show you all my crochet sweater. Okay. All right. So my husband and I are going to sell our car to get what we need for finances and buy either bicycles or scooter. What, Marissa? What are you talking about? Anyway, I don't know what's going on. People are saying things. Yeah, it's a BS story. Yeah. It was a grating voice too. You're correct about that. Just like, yeah, look, guys, if something doesn't seem to be true, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. Urban legends. Yep. Yep. That person, if they want to return to South Africa, would have to get approval from the U.S. government in order to go. Despite what Dogzilla will tell you, they would need a permission. The U.S. government is not going to let a person with a visa for refugee status go to the airport, get on a plane, and fly to South Africa. Not going to happen, not without their approval. No, it's not real news. Anyway, Happy New Year to everybody. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done it already. I have a refugee interview coming up in 17 minutes. Oh, Marissa, okay, you're going to sell your car and get your scooter so you can get around. Okay, I got you. Okay, I thought you were like somebody. I'm selling my car. I'm leaving. They thought you meant you're leaving chat. Thank you. Yeah, scammers will eat anyone. Let's see how we did on this stream. We had a little bit of super chat revenue. We got 500 people currently watching, 655 likes, and I have to end it, unfortunately, now. Thank you all, and to everyone, a Happy New Year. This weekend, the big match will be on Saturday. Stormers and Bulls, DHL Greenpoint Stadium, Rugby Ascendant. I don't know if the mods ever put that in there. Getting the approval wouldn't be hard. Yes, Arctic, but then the U.S. government would be aware of this person. U.S. government doesn't know who this is. That's all I'll say. Okay? Yeah. So, anyway, maybe they do. Maybe they've applied for it since then. Maybe they just voicing it, but they haven't taken any action to come back. Okay? Exactly, Charles. All right, guys, hopefully I'll see you for the refugee conversation shortly. We'll be anonymous, and the gentleman's name will be Tion. I've given the name Tion to our refugee who's coming on in a few minutes. May not be all that long. We'll see how it goes, but not having the best of experiences, okay? All righty. So, cheers, God bless, and a Happy New Year to everybody.